In the ag industry, the China trade war continues, with many producers left wondering about the impact that will have on this season. A panel discussion hosted by the Lubbock Chamber of Commerce at the annual Harvest Luncheon broke down the current situation, appropriately titled Tales from the Trade Trenches, in this week's Ag Journal.
When it comes to negotiating trade deals, historically, it can be a slow process. Cultural differences and ideology on what is called rule of law make the process with China all the more difficult.
In America, we're all very comfortable with our set of laws and the rule of law, and we do business certain ways. You can patent or trademark or copyright that particular information, that intellectual property that's yours. That's just not the case in a place like China. And you can imagine the difficulty in getting a trade agreement that respects U.S. intellectual property in a nation like China.
The cease of trade to China has caused a huge disruption and tremendous effect on producers.
You look at the U.S. sorghum industry, 5 years average, we've exported about $1.2 billion a year to China, and that was going along very nicely up until the spring of 2018 when all trade stopped. And when we look at this year, around $200 million, so a very small percentage of what we have been doing, and obviously that has a tremendous impact on our prices then when we're not moving those bushels there.
Market facilitation payments from the Trump administration have kept farmers going, but it's not a long-term solution.
We need to export because we can't physically or mentally consume everything that we produce in the U.S. We export roughly 85% of the raw commodity fiber cotton that we produce in the U.S. for a multitude of reasons. One being we don't have as many textile manufacturers here in the U.S. to actually utilize our domestic-based product. And so we source export markets so we can have a place to send it and then re-import those back into the U.S.
Unforeseen situations on an economy can often have an impact during negotiations.
Things are slowing down there. Manufacturing slowing down. There's challenges, of course, on the animal side and the agriculture side. They've had a significant swine disease that has killed up to 40% of their swine in the country.
China needs the food. It's got lots of mouths to feed every day. And cheap food is really important to keeping their economy afloat and keeping peace.
American farmers have always been optimistic, and that continues during these negotiations.
Yeah, we're hopeful. Even in the president's announcement of a $40 to $50 billion trade deal with China, where they're going to buy that much agricultural product from the U.S. on a yearly basis. And that compares to, $15 to $20 billion pre-trade war was our kind of annual target, or the amount that we were exporting. And that'll be felt in this local economy by the Lubbock Chamber and its members.
Brandon Waits, KLBK News.